Okay, y'all. These problems look like they're kind of scary because it's like, oh no, what's going on here? I don't see any x minus whatever. It's the same process. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that process. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my these right here, what the numbers can't equal. So what is that? I look at the bottom. There's a 3 here. I can't do much with that. There's an x squared here. So if I set x squared equal to 0 and I square rooted both sides, I would get that x cannot equal 0. All right, awesome. And then over here on this side, if I said x equals 0, then yeah, it's the same thing. So I have it twice. So what does that mean? If I plugged in the 0 right here, I would get 1 over 0. That would break the equation. Same thing over here. If I did 6 over 0 squared, well, 0 squared is just 0. 6 over 0 breaks the equation. So with that said, we found what it can't equal to. Now let's go ahead and redraw our little things. I'll show you. So all I did here was rewrite the problem, but I gave myself room to work with. So I'm going to look at the bottom of the denominators here. So there's x, there's 3, and there's x squared. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at how many x's there should be total in the bottom. So I'm going to start over here. There are 2 x's multiplied together here, x times x. I need another one added. So I'm going to add another one here, because x times x is x squared. And I'm going to go ahead and put that x up here. Now, the problem is I see that there's a 3 over here. So I need to go ahead and add a 3 to my denominator over here as well, too. I'm going to add it to the top, my numerator, and there's my 3 right there. It's an ugly 3. Let me see if I can make a prettier one. So that's my numerator and denominator here on the first one. Now, so what does this look like? This is x and x. So I can write x and x, or I can just go ahead and write x squared. That's what needs to be here is x squared. So I'm going to write this on the top as well too, x squared. And then this one over here, remember, x times x is the same thing as x squared. What's missing on this side? Just a 3. Just a 3 is missing on this side. So now we're going to go ahead and make sure everything is there. X times x is x squared. Cool, I see it in both places. There's a 3, in all 3 places. And I see a 3 in all 3 places. So we're now ready to cross out the denominator. We already saw for that part anyways. So let's cross out the denominator, and then let's check out what we got here. So the first one is going to be 3x, because 1 times x times 3 is 3x, plus 1 times x squared is x squared. And then 6 times 3 is 18. Now check out what we got, y'all. We have ourselves x squared and x's and a number. So that means when you see an x squared, guess what that means? ABCs. So these problems, of course, will have ABCs. So I'm going to subtract the 18 on both sides. You'll notice there's nowhere to put it. So watch how I put this back together. My x squared goes first. My 3x goes first. And then I just move that negative 18 over. It goes right here. And then that is some bonk looking work. Where's my eraser? Is that my eraser? Let me put that there. There we go. 3x minus 18 equals 18 minus 18 is 0. Now you have to ABC this. Now you have to ABC this thing right here. You have to ABC it. So remember, A is equal to 1. When you have A equal to 1, that means you can do a shortcut. B is equal to 3. C is equal to negative 18. A times C is negative 18. So you need numbers that mult here and add here. Mult here, add here. So I'm looking at 6 and 3. 6 and 3, because 6 times 3 is negative 18. And then that's a positive 3. So let me see. Let me do negative 3 here. 6 times negative 3, negative 18. 6 plus negative 3 is in fact 3. So I can go ahead and I can write this out just like this. Equals 0. I have my minus 3, x minus 3, and I have my x plus 6 equals 0. So I broke this part down. This part received the ABC treatment, and it broke into this thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve my x minus 3 equal to 0, and my x plus 6 equal to 0. So my x minus 3 is equal to 0, and now my x plus 6 is equal to 0. And what do I end up with on this case? I end up with x equals 3, so that's a potential solution. X equals 3, and then I end up with x equals negative 6 as another potential solution. X equals negative 6. Now, it probably does have an extraneous solution, The way you'd find it is you'd go and plug in everything to see if it works. I personally don't want to write this in right now. I'm not in the mood to check for extraneous solutions, but you'd go in and you'd take 3 and plug it into one side and the other side and see if they equal each other. And then you take the -6 and do the same thing. I don't want to do that, so I'm done with this, and I'm not going to do the last problem because the last problem basically is the same thing, and you'll have to do the ABCs as well. And once we're there, like, we're good for today.